Chapter 4 Self-Discovery. Before I married a stranger, I grew up amid ryegrass and blue gum eucalyptus trees in the heart of California's Hayward Hills. Sandwiched between two older sisters and a younger brother, I got lost in the shuffle. To get them to notice me, I became theatrical. As a preteen, I couldn't wait to grow boobs, but when they arrived, I felt conflicted. Flowing out of my Playtex Double D at age 13, I ensconced myself in my happy place and admired my body behind closed doors. That is, until my church introduced me to guilt and shame. In 1969, about 40 years before women were purchasing their breasts by the pound, I was a rare specimen. When walking the streets, my outrageous bust line made me the focal point of all appreciating eyes. Guys of every age would go out of their way to meet me. Although their attention made me feel special, it also made me feel dirty. Because the internet didn't exist in my day, you couldn't access information by the touch of a screen. Everything I learned about sex was from a little book my mom gave me. That book was it. Its rudimentary drawings forced me to use my imagination. A picture showed a sperm penetrating an egg flowing down a woman's fallopian tube, but it failed to tell me the most important part. How did that little pollywog get there? Porn in the 60s and 70s was Penthouse and Playboy. Stacks of magazines filled liquor store checkout stands and drew men in from the streets. As a naturally curious pubescent teen, I looked too. You can't help noticing a beautiful naked body, straight or gay, but I remained clueless about sex. In my pubescent years, a church-adored leader, Spencer W. Kimball, began to preach about the evils of masturbation. My faithful adherence to his warnings kept me further in the dark about my body and its sexual responses. Was I supposed to avoid touching myself altogether until I found a marriage partner who could touch it for me? Standing naked before the mirror one evening, admiring my fully developed girls, I told myself they looked amazing. I leaned forward, examined my cleavage, then turned from side to side, pushing them up, fingers extending beneath them as if I were posing for Playboy. But the longer I stood admiring my nakedness, the more guilty I felt. My predicament was paradoxical in that my heart was pure and good. I read my scriptures daily and loved my Heavenly Father. But I also loved my bad girl boobs. Obedient to a fault, I believed that suppressing the overwhelming desire to admire and touch myself was what I needed to do to remain clean and pure so that one day I could be worthy to enter the temple. If I caved, I would blow my chances for a happily ever after. At the same time, I couldn't help but wonder why God would choose to put me through such a test. Although I didn't understand the rules, I did my best to avoid even looking at my body, which is an insane challenge when your body is attached to you. Sometimes I'd get tempted to touch it lightly, then quickly stop. The Lord is good, I'd say. The Lord is great. And if I proved to be faithful, I knew that in His own due time, He would share the mystery to His madness. Fake it till you make it. Sometimes you just know when you're different from everyone else. Growing up was tough. For me, too much attention was never enough. When my belly growled, I alerted the National Guard. I wasn't just hungry. I was starving to death. When cold, I was freezing to death. Obnoxiously loud and melodramatic, it comes as no surprise that I was often ignored. At an early age, I noticed my mother's smile grow paradoxically wider when she worried, and an extra energetic bounce appeared in her step when she grew tired. If I complained about being sleepy or hungry or cold, her advice? Fake it till you make it. No one likes a whiner. With all her many responsibilities, plus the effects of a severe sleeping disorder, faking it till she made it was Mom's only coping strategy. It helped her to get through the day. By the time I was 5, I could tell when she said things just to appease me so she could move on to more important things. Clearly, she was in survival mode, trying to keep her head above water. Still, I grew up feeling invisible. Don't get me wrong. I know she loved me deeply, but I was hardwired for connection, and I needed more than just love. As introverts, my parents couldn't possibly fill my insatiable need for affection and connection. I often withdrew into my imaginary world, which to me was the real world. In my mind, I saw him clearly. Adorned in a gold dinner jacket and royal red pants, my warm, genuine prince would be the one to rescue me from the fake-it-till-you-make-it world. He would take me in his arms, and I would no longer be lost. I would be seen. Me, my mom, and that Bony Broad. In the 60s and 70s, you could never be too thin. As a high school freshman, there were several things that triggered my eating disorder. Having a mom who looked like a J.C. Penney's clothes department store mannequin was one trigger. Why didn't she ever gain weight like I did? The stress of being a teenager was my second trigger. My outbursts at home and my shyness and social awkwardness at school defined my daily defeat. I needed relief from the battle. If I had been raised to believe that my body was my best friend, a tool to use in moderation for both comfort and pleasure, I might not have developed an eating disorder. But when you grow up being told masturbation is a sin, you find another way to quiet the ruckus inside. I'd often find myself creeping downstairs at midnight, stuffing myself with anything I could get my hands on. Barbecued chicken, mashed potatoes, biscuits, leftover cake, anything to fill that emptiness. Hungry or not, I gorged myself until I could barely move, all while cursing Twiggy, that Bony Broad whose face was plastered on every Vogue magazine in America. Thrusting my finger to the back of my throat to trigger the gag reflex so my food could be expelled never appealed to me. Instead, I would starve for days at a time, eating the bare minimum until I reached my desired weight. When I did, I prided myself on having the silhouette of a trucker's mudflap girl. Yet it didn't take long before shame tore me down again. It shrieked loudly from the pulpit, accusing me of being walking pornography. On those days, I held my books high to shield my ever-expanding bust line as I slumped across campus like Quasimodo. As a sophomore, I was still shy and didn't talk much, but I didn't have to. I grew another cup size, and my uber-ample breasts did all the talking for me. At 5'8", if I turned sideways, my waist disappeared. But my triple D church bells could cause a serious collision if I got too close to ongoing traffic. When hearing, "Nice rack," while walking down the hallways, was I supposed to yell back, "Thank you very much"? The exponential growth of my body's development ran circles around my social skills. At age 15, a good Mormon girl wasn't supposed to look like a porn star. How would I get good marks in heaven?